Mr. Marai, welcome. Thank you very much for discussing.
My pleasure, and thanks for joining us at this Baselworld.
Thank you so much. Let's start with Versace. Versace watch has Medusa and the Greek spirit in the DNA. So what defines Versace watch and what the values that the brand stands for?
Well, of course, being a fashion brand, our main job is always to try to create timepieces that really represent the DNA of the Maison. So, of course, the Medusa and the Greek traits, of course, they help a lot, but this is not sufficient because it's the shape and the design, the type of material, the mix of color, for example, the use of gold mixed with steel as well, that helps really to create a sense of a product pertaining to the brand, which is really relevant. Last year, for example, we celebrated 25 years of our watch activities with the brand Versace, and we created the DV25, which together with the use of the Greek and the Medusa, but also the mix of material, was really an outstanding piece that really represented the brand and was really very successful to the extent that this year we have extended the DV25 line also for men, also in round shape instead only of rectangular shape, because it's really a piece that has been strongly identified as a Versace watch. At the same time, for example, we have our Rev family. The Rev has always been our best seller in the past more than 10 years now. And of course, it was in need of a revitalization because, the design sometimes, especially for a fashion brand, you see such a strong evolution that, in the fashion industry, every 6 months you say, oh, this is old looking. We are a little bit exaggerating. But even on watches after 10 years, you see that the product was in need of revitalization design. So we have basically taken the same traits, the same shape, the same design, but in a more modern way, and it has been a great success during this Basel Fair.
And where Versace watches are made?
Well, Versace watches are of course made in Switzerland. We do carry the Swiss made, but I would say in a very concrete way. Our company is established in Switzerland, in Lugano. So out of 45 employees, 43 works in Lugano, actually. We do produce watches according not only to the present standard for the Swiss made, but we do comply already to the new rules which will be coming into effect most likely as of end of 2017. So it's not only that we have the Swiss movement or the Swiss assembly, but we really create our product in Switzerland. We design them, we engineer them, and we have our own internal assembly center. So we are really a Swiss-based company to create Swiss-made products.
So Italian design made in Switzerland.
Well, I would say Italian brand, which of course brings, let's say, an Italian style more than Italian design, because then the design has to be international design, because Italian design is part of the taste we want to express with Versace, but we really want to adhere to the taste that people have in different countries. So based on a style, which is a strong Versace style, then the design has to accomplish with different taste of people in different regions.
You already mentioned your best-selling collection. So what is the inspiration behind? What is the story of this collection?
Well, the story behind is always to be recognizable as a Versace product. So all the inspiration comes from Donatella. So she gives us inspiration. Of course, she's not a watch designer. So our job is to translate the inspiration from Donatella into a concrete product by keeping the spirit of the Versace brand. So when you must end up with a product that people can say it's a Versace product before you put, let's say, the name on the dial. So the test that we very frequently do is that to present product without putting the name on it. And if people can distinguish, oh, this should be a Versace, then it means that we are okay. If people are doubtful whether it is a Versace product or another brand, and of course we have several brands in our portfolio, so if people are doubtful, it means that we still have to rework the product.
And now maybe more on the digital side, which is quite a huge buzz, has been recently around. In the near future, Versace will enter the smart watch segment. So how do you plan to compete in that market, and when is going to be the right moment to start?
Well, first of all, you mentioned two things. You mentioned digital and you mentioned smartwatches. And I don't believe the necessary smartwatches should be digital. There are also opportunities to have smartwatches on the analog base. And if you look at the watch industry, 75 or almost 80% of the watch industry is based on analog watches, particularly for the Swiss made, not on digital. So I do not necessarily believe that to create a smartwatch you have to do it based on a digital base. Also consider that the digital Swiss made base is something not only complicated but not really strong and successful into the market so far. In terms of timing, almost 3 years ago and 2 years ago, I was heavily talking about smartwatches when I was among the first to talk about that, thanks to the fact that I was falling in love with a very interesting project in the United States. Then last year I decided to stop talking about smartwatches because it has become the overall talk at the Basel Fair. And I was already starting to say to the opposite that the way that the industry had approached smartwatches was not the right one. And as of this year, everybody is presenting smartwatches, but nobody's talking about smartwatches. So I believe that the trial that people have made so far were not interesting for the end consumer for several reasons. First is a lack in technology, because as of today, the smartwatches is only replicating on a dial information we have somewhere else. Whereas it might be more interesting when the smartwatch is reading information from my body and transmitting to somebody else. The second, the battery consumption. If you use intensively your smartwatch, you need to recharge. And already we are not happy by recharging the phones. We have a problem that after 5 hours we need to plug in and recharge the phone. You can imagine if you want to recharge also your watch will not be an easy. Third, digital against analog. People, okay, they like digital, but digital is considered a little bit of a gimmick. So I use it, but only sometimes in some occasion. I don't like to have a black dial for the normal use. And I would say that these are the main factor. Also then consider, for example, the shape and the design, because Apple, which is considered to be one of the top brands for design, I think that they made a kind of a mistake, because the rectangular, strongly shaped design is not people want to wear, or at least not what they want to wear normally or daily. So today the watch, the primary function is no longer the timekeeping, but is an accessory. So smartwatches try to go on the older direction, so to bring technological reason to wear a watch. Where still I believe that the main reason today to wear a watch it is because it's something that personalizes you, it's an accessory to you. So then after that you can have certain functionality. So when people will better understand this, I think that will be the right time together with the technology to create smartwatches. Basically, I might say 2 years from now.
So already mentioned, the watch is something that talk about your personality, that personalize you. So what is the Ferragamo brand? This is your another brand, and what is the position, what are the messages here? Who actually is addressing this brand?
Well, first of all, yes, we have Ferragamo in our portfolio, and one point that I want to underline, that we don't want to carry brands that are overlapped in terms of image. So when you talk about Versace, is a fashion brand with a strong identification on a strong design and very aggressive design, where to the opposite, Ferragamo is as well a fashion brand, but it's more a classic contemporary brand, where they say the expression of luxury is more connected to, let's say, contemporary design instead of being aggressive design, where expression of quality, of easy to use, easy to wear, easy to dress is the best example. Handmade craftsmanship is part of the DNA of the brand. So it's a completely different approach from Versace. So it's more about fine design, about a mix and the fusion between what is fashion and, for example, what is technology. So the brand Ferragamo, they owns hundreds of patents. Of course, most of them for the shoes, but you would be surprised to discover how many patents they have for things that are not at all related to shoes. Because Salvatore Ferragamo was really genius, so he has created patents even for completely different industries. And this related to the fact that products are targeted to offer the better quality, but having something inside which is specific. So following this trend, for example, this year we have introduced a new product for Ferragamo. We call it Cuore Ferragamo. It's a patent movement where on the dial you have a beating heart. It's a beating related to the mechanism of the watch. And we believe that this is the synthesis of what we are doing on Ferragamo. So a connubio between fashion and design, but also some technology behind. And I think that this is an extremely interesting exercise that will offer strong opportunities for everybody to sell the product. For the retailers, because they have a story to tell, a story that is strongly connected with the brand, but also for those who buy the product, because the heart is an expression of love. Love is an expression of multi-type of relationship. It's not only between fiancé or between husband and wife, but it's also the father to the daughter, etc. So it's a very wide expression, and you have multiple occasions, because for any type of event you talk about love. Love is a very strong sentiment. So we think that we are offering a good opportunity for really revamping the business.
And this heart-beating collection from Ferragamo is his and hers, or is her?
Sorry, is
His and hers collection timepieces?
Well, we just started from the female side, because we feel that it was easier to approach the female side, but definitely we are planning also to have an evolution of the collection also for men.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Really, I wish you all the best.
The same to you. Thank
Grazie.
you so much.